there, and welcome back to the channel. I'm David Steele and you're just looking at me truck. I'm going to go ahead and start her up. Get the ride height back to where it should be. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what today's run is going to be. Because as you can see, we have a fairly chunky trailer on the back of this little Scania R. This is a Scania R 2009, so it's the earlier model. But under the hood we're using, well no, let me just put some context here. This is £86,000 worth of cargo. So clearly we need to be using a big ass Scania V8. Yeah, no, that's not what we're doing here today. This is me, don't you know? And so today we're using a 1996 DSC9. That is not a 900 horsepower motor, no, that is a 9 litre motor. And it has 260 horsepower under the hood and just 1180 newton meters of torque. So not particularly powerful, but the purpose of today's trip is not to demonstrate how amazingly super efficient this truck can be hauling this load. No. Today we're going to take a look at SCS Smart Shifting and see if it's evolved and if it's improved and if it works any better than it has before. So let's go ahead and jump into the settings. Go down to here, go to systems and options. I say settings, I meant options, my bad. Now, your Smart Shift sits in your gameplay menu here, but here's a little trick if you didn't know this. You can go along to search and start typing in Smart. Hey, so it says there's nothing here, but there's some information in gameplay and in controls. So I'm going to go back to gameplay here. Here we got the Smart Sequential Shifting, which is turned on here. And then under controls, again, you've got the same option, so Smart Sequential Shifting. Now, what this... You can drag the mouse over the top. What it says is it allows skip shifting, skipping gears when necessary or practical to avoid shifting every single gear in the transmission. Now this feature comes into its own when you use a controller. I suppose when you also use keyboard. You don't have to tap up shift or down shift for every single gear. It's more relevant when using a 36-speed gearbox and you don't need every single gear to go up and down. But in this case, we're not using a 36-speed gearbox. No, we're using a 9-speed. But there's a reason why I'm trying it here, because a low-powered engine with a 9-speed gearbox, configured as an 8-speed with a crawler gear, is not exactly ideal for this kind of cargo. You might want 16 speeds. In fact, you probably will want 16 speeds. But that's not what we're doing here today. So, I'm going to go ahead, well, it's turned on. I'm going to go ahead and just go back into my menu here. My game even. Let's jump back into the cabin, okay. So, we're currently idling. Let's straighten up my steering wheel. If I put the transmission back one gear into reverse, let's just get my headlights on. We only have one reverse gear, so it's just going to put me into reverse, like so. Put it forward, puts it into neutral. Now with the cargo behind me, if I shift it up a gear, it's probably going to put me into crawler 1. Yes, it does. And it's really, really unlikely to skip gears. We've got a lot of cargo behind me, and we've only got 9 gears to choose from. But where it should come into its home is as we downshift for a hazard or a roundabout or whatever reason we need to slow down and downshift. If we downshift from 8th gear to nearly a stop, well, before, when I wasn't using Smart Shift, you've got to go through 7, through 6, through 5th, the whole way down to 1st or crawler. Well, with Smart Shift, we shouldn't need to do that. Now, where I have struggled in the past is if you downshift and you're almost stationary, it'll put you into neutral and not put you into 1st or crawler gear. So let's see how well it works. Right, so I'm in crawler gear. Let's release the parking brake and let's make a move. That's a quick check of my destination. So 208 kilometers. I'm just feathering the throttle here. Taking some basil. Not Basil Fox, just basil. And yeah, 8 hours to do it in, so we've got plenty of time. Alright, so I'm just going to let it basically bob along here in 1st gear. We'll go ahead and signal left. If I go to downshift, it should go to crawler, I would have thought. It does, good. And again, if I downshift, puts me into neutral, okay. Right, let's go. Oh yeah, we can feel the weight here. And just so this is going to be a challenge for a couple of reasons. One, I've got to narrate what I'm doing. Two, I'm going to be shifting manually. And three, there may be occasions when it skips a gear that I didn't want it to. We'll see how well that this actually works. Now, when Smart Shift first came out, I did put up a video to talk about it, and I came away not really impressed by how well it worked or didn't work. But I don't know whether SCS. No, let me rephrase that. I haven't seen that SCS have said anything that they've gone to improve it. But I want to give it another go. So let's see how well it works. Plus, this is a potential new engine for the Steel Productions engine pack, and it's an older engine. It's a 1996 engine. It's low powered. It's not the lowest powered engine I'm working on. That will be a 220 horsepower. But with not that much power or torque, this is kind of ideally suited to. Well, it's a good experiment test bed. So I wonder if we were to rev it out and say first or second gear, and then lift off the throttle and go to upshift, it will skip a gear. I don't know. We might find out. Let's see. Do I have a means of showing my engine load? I don't think I do. No, I haven't got like. Well, I've got fuel consumption, but I don't have a turbo boost gauge. But as I squeeze on more power, you see the instantaneous fuel consumption drop. And now at full power, I'm getting 3.3 to the gallon. Not exactly accelerating quickly, let's put it that way. But I don't expect it to. So we're gonna just keep it pegged here at full chat. This might be a gradient, or it might just be I'm struggling with it. I don't know. Right, let's lift off and shift. I went to 7. To be fair though, I think 8th is just... yeah, 8th is out of the power band.
Get ready to turn right.
Right, so now... I'll lose a bit of speed to get down to 50, but I'm actually turning. So we'll keep it in 7th gear, and when we're about to turn, we'll just give it a single downshift. Like so. Alright, 7 to 4th, yeah, so that's fine. That works really nicely. Okay, so we're a little too slow for 4th, but that's on me because I slowed down after I changed. Okay, well, I think then it seems to be working as it should. We can go up through the gears as we might normally go through, and leverage the supreme power of this 9-litre engine. So, point of reference, slightly later Scania 9 litres. Oh, it's my turn. Okay, it is easier to manage the manual gear shifts when you do something doofus like that. Let's pay attention to where I am, I think, David. At the same time, no? Yes. So, point of interest here is that later Scania 9 litres were an inline 5-cylinder engine as opposed to a 6, and the early ones were a 6-cylinder. Then they moved to a 5-cylinder. Now, why 5 cylinders? Well, fewer moving parts, and Scania have a modular engine arrangement. Let's get my speed down to 30. It's road work. This feels incredibly slow. There's no point in piling on the power because we're about to stop.
Go straight.
So I'm going to change down right when we're about to stop. I really want to change down now. Yes, go ahead and change down. 5th to 2nd, and then down again to 1st. Down again to neutral. Yeah. So you see that's not really improved. And now we're stuck. Yeah, now I can't move. Maybe I can. Wow, that was not a pleasant experience. Okay. Well, I'm going to rev it out. Yeah, so we went from first to neutral, and really we should have gone into crawler there. And that is somewhere where the smart shift was just, you know, if I'm not exactly, well, I suppose how would it know if I needed the power again? Still, once we got it going again, and that took a lot of leaning forwards, I suppose, we're okay. Spinning this engine like a mad thing, but losing a bit of speed up the hill, but hey, we're doing it. Okay, let's shift up at 22, I think. I can get there. 22, and shift. Okay. So the older engines have a power band that really wants a few more revs than the newer engines. But all said and done, it's actually holding up this hill way better than I thought it might. Yes, I am having to somewhat extend the engine, but we've only got 260 horsepower. I bet you that a lot of readers, a lot of viewers for the channel are like, dude, my car's got more power than that. Is it? Probably has. Here we go, up at 70, well, 69, but hey. Alright, let's see if that's good enough for top. No. Okay. Well, it might be, but on the level. We're not on the level right now. Okay. So we're still getting back up to 70 kilometers per hour. But all said and done, I think this little engine's doing alright. The transmission does have a retarder, so if I use cruise control and bring my speed down, it will use the retarder to lose some of the miles per hour. I think my speed limit does not move from 70. No. Oh, it does. Oh, what do you know? Alright. Can we tell though? No. I cranked on the power. It is already cranked on. So we're not going any quicker right now, but okay. Almost to 70. I did deliberately pick a route like this because I figured that Sweden would not be that flat. Be a bit interesting with sort of, and this road looks pretty straight, but I hoped it would be a bit more interesting than a stretch of French autoroute, a German autobahn. I didn't think that would be particularly exciting. Right, let's use my retarder to get down to 50 kilometers per hour, and we might not need to downshift. I will though. Yeah. Let's bring the gearbox down, a cog, because we're going to want the acceleration in quote marks to get back up to 70. Yeah, the far side. So lots of noise and not much go. But enough go, because we're not going to be late. So like we want to do 80 kilometers per hour, so that's 50 miles an hour. Yeah, it's the gearing is set up fine. At least the gap between ratios is okay. You have to drive this a little bit like you might have one of the older Macs, so you need to rev it out and then change up and be right back in the power band. This really would suit something like the 14 speed, but defeat the point of doing today's run at least. We'll try the 14 speed or at least the 12 speed a little later. Yeah, we're on the flat now, or possibly we're going down a gradient, so it's much more capable, oddly enough. Hey, we're about to cruise. At long last. Maybe. possibly. Yeah, can we cruise? Oh, we're about to turn off. That's disappointing. Right, well, kill the power. Shift it down. Tell the world where we're going. We use the retarder manually. Seven to 6, down to 5th. Back on the power, but we still need to change. Oh, we're going to stop again. So I double shifted down there, which is just a habit I've got. It put me to 1st, which, yeah, I don't know if it's going to hit me crawler gear when moving forward. Okay, so I can see how it's workable, but it does require a different technique to what I'm used to, and a habit of mine was to essentially, alright, can we, I did put me in 2nd gear there. I want to be in crawler, thanks very much. Maybe we do feel the load. Okay. We're going to go down a hill, which is going to be a massive help. To pick up a bit of speed. A lot of speed. Maybe get up to 80, maybe. Well, we might have done, but we've come to another uphill gradient, so we'll just let it lead its speed as we climb. So yeah, it does have some quirks still, and I imagine that it's very difficult to program the logic, because every driver is going to be different. And so right now, there's been 2 instances on this trip where I've like, you know, I really didn't want you to try to move me off in 2nd gear. And then because I'm almost stationary, if I downshift, it puts me to neutral, so I've got to go down and go back up, whereas it's 2 taps. Whereas if it was non-smart shifting, I could potentially have just tapped it twice down. But if you've watched some of my recent videos, you'll notice that, well, one, sometimes it just doesn't recognize that I've tapped it immediately. And then when I go to tap it again, it remembers, oh yeah, you wanted to shift down again, and it gives me another gear change. That's very frustrating, because you might be maybe slowing down, and you want to go from, let's say, 6th to 4th, so I'll tap down twice on the controller, and then go from 6th to 5th. Well, that's great, but I want it to be in 4th. Okay, so I'll downshift again, thinking, well, okay, maybe it didn't recognize I wanted to be in 4th, and lo and behold, it puts me into 3rd, which is then, I'm too fast for 3rd gear, and it's a mess. It's horrible. It's a not good experience. So maybe Smart Shift will help with that. But the payback is when you come to an area where you really need to be in precisely the right gear and you're very slow speed, it's gonna do crazy stuff like put you in neutral. And you go into neutral and you're slowing down and you want to get into gear to keep the thing rolling, because getting it moving is a pain. You're gonna struggle there. Now, given my propensity to haul very heavy loads with silly underpowered engines, that's not really going to work for me, I don't think. But maybe this trip with a far more sensible engine would be a lot better an experience. And I can't truly fault the game for not expecting me to do something silly in it. Alright, let's try this again. So we're going to turn right up here. Oh, I downshifted them just through habit. Right, well, let's keep it in gear. We'll use the service brake and the engine brake. Right, so, and we'll downshift once. It puts me into 4th. Downshift again. Puts me into 2nd. Back on the power. I think 2nd was probably an okay gear for that, but I messed up turning in. So I'm still under power. Let's get off the power. Let's downshift. Push me in neutral. Shift up to go to crawler. I do not like the fact that I do that sometimes. So you can look at the right hand side of the screen to see the mess I made of that junction.
Go straight.
These constant speed limit changes are very much a characteristic of Euro Truck Simulator 2, and they can become frustrating if you are in a low-powered truck, because you just seemingly spend your entire time accelerating just to have to ease off or stop accelerating to slow down, because the speed limits change on you again, and it doesn't stop. Roundabout will be a challenge. Right, let's see. So we're in whoa, what are you doing, sunshine? Alright, let's try and move off. Again, I try and move off from 5th gear. I can't go anywhere. I downshift, push me neutral, so I got to downshift then upshift. Well, I can adapt to it, I suppose. Where's this crazy van going? It's crazy golf going, okay. Take out the signpost? We did. Oops. So once we're on the move, it's okay. There's just some little quirks at very low speed. Now I likely won't need to do much maneuvering, but we'll see what happens when I come to have to put the cargo where it belongs. Right, so I'll turn left here, so give way. I'll be on the service brake. Let's give it a downshift. Just down one gear. Let's give it another one. Let's be into first. Okay, first is reasonable. But when I'm stationary, so I'll have to downshift once, then upshift once to put me in crawler. Well, it's not the end of the world. And that might be a characteristic, I don't think it is, but it's specific to crawlers. Crawlers are, on some gearboxes, they're a little weird. You have to push a button to get into them, rather than simply move the gear lever. I can certainly adapt to it, I think. Okay, turn right into here, and then right back up myself, and be able to maneuver to park. Oh boy.
Finally, we are here.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, so I'm gonna inch it in here, second gear. There we go. It does put me down into crawler. So I was second gear and I tapped down. We skipped a gear, which is good, and that's what I wanted it to be. I want to be in crawler gear. I want to be in the lowest gear I can be. Missing a mirror. I didn't attach it to the windscreen. Okay. So if I downshift now, puts me in crawler, yeah, okay. Which is probably what we expect. Let's switch to this view. So I might got it in. Look at that. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and shut down. Opinion of that then. It's workable, I think. I think it's workable, and I very much am using a non-ideal configuration for this sort of cargo. I don't think that the designers of the game truly thought that people would realistically have high expectations for that kind of configuration, and I didn't. But no, I think that is completely usable. Now, meanwhile, we did 209 kilometers on just over 100 liters, which happens to be about 5 miles per gallon, which is okay. I mean, we were working this thing hard the whole time. And that makes sense that we don't get particularly good mileage. Now, in terms of freight ton efficiency, that's actually pretty good. That's 211, and that's a unit of measuring how efficient that was. So something the Swedes do is they have these big land trains where you'll have a super high powered engine to haul a lot of cargo around. And it's more efficient than sending 2 or 3 trucks. We managed that with a 9 litre. Okay, well, I hope you got something from that. That was an interesting experience for me. Like I say, I think it's completely workable. I think I got to get used to it. But yeah, that went well. Thanks so much, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll maybe see you the next one. Goodbye.